and living in their parents' basement. So really, it's tougher and tougher for young people to make ends meet. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is that this next generation is also very mission-focused. They're socially conscious, and they have a strong sense of community and family, and they look out for each other, and they're determined really to set their own destiny. And the AFL-CIO is equally determined to be there to give them the tools that they need to really lead us forward. So over the last year, the AFL-CIO has made it a priority to create and implement a comprehensive, strategic young worker outreach program. Face-to-face roundtable meetings we've conducted in 5 cities over last spring. We called them Futures Forums, really led up to and set the foundation for our long-term program. In June, then, we had over 400 young workers in Washington attending our Next Up Summit. That's what we termed it. And they really took a leadership role and laid the groundwork for the long-term program. And this program's goal is to engage young union members and attract young workers in general to the labor movement. And you'll see its immediate force as we mobilize young workers around specific economic issues in the AFL-CIO 2010 political program. Now, the AFL-CIO is teaming up with our community affiliate, everyone's familiar with Working America, to organize a postcard campaign for women, including young women, and we'll be asking thousands of activists to write hundreds of thousands of postcards to women voters in key states that normally might not otherwise vote. So it's just one more way of engaging their peers in the political process. And Working America, by the way, has become the most dynamic development in the labor movement since it was founded 7 years ago. Working America is the best opportunity for working people without a union on the job to become part of the labor movement. Canvassers speak to 30,000 people a week. It's a lot of doors. And they're going door to door in working class neighborhoods. Working America is also in the midst of a massive campaign to mobilize jobless voters. At job fairs, in neighborhoods, and at unemployment offices, they're talking to thousands of people about the stakes of the election and the importance of electing economic heroes or economic patriots, as Rich put it. So this Labor Day, working people are coming together to fight for good jobs, health care, defending our rights. And those who have been hit the hardest, young people, people of color, unemployed workers, are actually the ones that we need to engage the most in this election to make a difference. So now I have the privilege of introducing our next voice at the podium, Trent McNutt, a member of the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, who's here all the way from Ohio. Trent.
Thank you and good morning. I'm glad to be here today to represent my coworkers and so many others that aren't here to tell their stories. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. I'm a married father of a 7-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son. I'm a member of the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, and I was raised in a union family. My dad is a retired sheet metal worker, my brother was a fireman, and my father-in-law works for Jeep in Toledo as a skilled tradesman. In November of last year, the company that I worked for 11 years, went out of business because of the economy. This business was started in 1923 and had an 87-year history in Toledo, Ohio. I went to work for another company, but business has been unsteady. When the contractor has work, I go to work. The contractor doesn't have work, I sit home. This year, I'm on pace to make a third of my earnings that I've made in past years. My wife works for an optical lab, and fortunately, she has steady work. You never really expect something as drastic as what we've been going through. But we know a lot of other people are going through worse. Over the past few months, work has started to pick up, but I'm fearful that we will taper off again. My father instilled hard work and volunteerism in me. His big reason why I'm going door to door, making phone calls, and working to elect people who create jobs to fix our economy. I watched my dad for countless years support me, provide for me when I played sports. He had a great work ethic and rarely ever missed work. That's why we need to elect the right candidates in office. We need to elect the people that support guys like my dad and not the super wealthy. We can't afford to put people in office who will forget about the middle class. That's why I am working for Governor Ted Strickland and Lee Fisher, who is running for Senate. I am not sure what we'll do if things don't turn around and if we don't put the right people in office. That's why I am going to do everything with my brothers and sisters to make a difference this election, because there's just too much at stake. Thank you, and I'd next like to introduce AFL-CIO Executive Vice President Arlene Holtbaker.
Thank you so much, Trent. Your story is one that moves us all. Your commitment to stay in the fight, for the middle class. Good morning to all of you. We've been talking about this economic patriotism and what working people are facing. What we know is that working people are frustrated, and yes, they are angry. That frustration and anger is being stoked by people, groups, and corporations who are trying to distract working families from the truth. The truth is that the agenda that they advocate brought about our economic devastation and will deepen the economic inequality that is so dangerous to our society. Americans are angry because they are losing their jobs and their homes. We have seen the foreclosure crisis twisted to shift the blame from corporate wrongdoing to the victims of joblessness and foreclosures. About a month ago, the AFL-CIO partnered with the Atlanta community to hold a hearing on the foreclosure crisis facing so many in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia ranks 8th in the states here in America facing foreclosure, but quite frankly, that hearing could have been held in California or Nevada. As chair of the hearing, I heard the stories of a single mother, a widow, a senior citizen, and an underemployed father. These were people over their heads because corporate greed and Wall Street had made them jobless, and they were, in some cases, in subprime mortgages. It is folks like these who will benefit from a consumer protection agency headed by Elizabeth Warren. These are people frustrated and angry, and so we're fighting back. The AFL-CIO is determined that the Tea Party and its corporate backers are not going to get the final word. The AFL-CIO is proud to be joining with a diverse coalition of civil rights, religious, human rights, environmental, and other progressive organizations as part of One Nation Working Together, a rally that will be held in Washington, D.C. and across the country on October the 2nd. One Nation Working Together will show America what a progressive economic vision looks like. We are joining together with people from all across America because we are determined to build an America defined by greater unity, with jobs, justice, and education for all. Working people who want to build a middle-class economy are the majority. We are fueled by hope and not hate. We have the pride, power, and determination to keep our country, ourselves, and our communities moving toward an economy that values hard work and jobs that can support a family. So on October the 2nd, we will come together to rally and raise our voices in D.C., and we will expect tens of thousands of union families to come to Washington as part of One Nation Working Together. And on October 2nd, working families will also be knocking on doors in 26 states with tens of thousands of volunteers to talk about the choices working families face in this upcoming elections. Yes, elections do make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We're now ready for our question and answer part of the press conference. So, operator, you can go ahead and give the cue to ask questions for folks on the phone as well.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask the question, please press star, then 1 on your touch-tone phone. You will hear a tone indicating you have been placed in queue. You may remove yourself from queue at any time by pressing the pound key. If you are using a speakerphone, please pick up the handset before pressing the numbers. Once again, if you have a question, please press star 1 at this time. One moment, please, for your first question.
Great, and I'd actually, in the meantime, like to take a question from the folks in the room. So, Chris, you want to go ahead? And I'm going to repeat the question after so the cameras can hear it.
Sure. I was hoping Mr. Trump could talk a little bit more about the political piece of this. You see, 26 states. How much are you spending? What are you prepared to go up on the air? Can you talk to me about the effort to get this message out to not just working families, but to Americans largely?
Well, we're not going to give you a figure about how much we're going to spend because ultimately that's all you write about. I would rather talk about what we do and how we're going to do it. We're going to be in over 400 races. We'll be in 26 states, as I said. We'll be playing governor's races, senators' races, over 70 House races, and state legislative races. We'll be out every day between now and Election Day talking to our members, either by phone, on the door, at the work site. We will pass out millions of leaflets in the process. Working America will continue its effort and be talking to 25,000, 30,000 people a week with their canvassing and talking to them, and we will get the message out. Facts, straight facts. We'll also energize our volunteers. We'll have literally thousands of people that are out volunteering, doing those phone banks, the walks, and the leafleting that we're doing. We've had thousands already out. We'll have more of that in every one of those states.
So no sense of the resources you're going to spend?
We'll have plenty of resources to energize, to mobilize, and to activate our members.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, on the October 2nd rally, do you plan to have politicians there? Will the president attend? And do you plan to hold it on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial?
You want to
answer?
Go ahead, answer. I'll come back to you.
Okay. It's going to be in the mall, and I don't believe that there will be very many politicians there. There will be people there who are representative of the communities that are suffering because of this economic recession that they find themselves in, and for so many of them, a depression. So it will be the stories told of people, but a message we hope that the politicians hear.
It'll also be paired with hundreds of activities back in the various states. We'll be doing labor walks. We'll be doing phone banking in several hundred places around the country simultaneously with the march with the same message, getting people out, letting them know the importance of the economy in this election.
Yeah, Tim?
We've heard a lot about the difference in enthusiasm for voters this fall. What are you going to offer your voters besides, what's a proactive thing you can promise them on the economy?
I'm sorry, say it again. Speak a little into the mic a little more.
How are you going to get people excited to vote for your candidates this fall when it doesn't seem like there's much proactive they can offer other than opposition to what the Republicans are talking about?
Well, that's not necessarily true. If you look at what's been accomplished so far, first we do remind them of the things that have been accomplished, and there's been a number of those things. We had the economic recovery package that pulled us back from a recession to where we are, to making progress. We've been doing infrastructure spending that has created jobs. This president has created more jobs in the recession in this worst economy than George Bush did in 8 years. that he was president. We have Wall Street reform, where we've pulled Wall Street back